In the day's other headlines, deadly storms are sweeping across the United States from one coast to the other. In California, floodwaters inundated roads, killing at least 2 people in Sonoma County, where heavy rains triggered landslides and destroyed homes. Farther east, a possible tornado ripped through eastern Tennessee late last night. Officials confirmed 2 lives were claimed in that storm as well.
Roads will be blocked, power lines are down, there's still safety issues going on, and just ask people to pray for this community again as they go through these tragic times and the people that lost their life.
In the Pacific Northwest, more peaceful scenes. Snow blanketed the dense forests of southern Oregon, and that winter weather is headed east and poised to affect millions. Forecasters say snow and freezing rain is traversing the northern states and will reach New England by Sunday. More than a foot of snow could fall in parts of the Northeast. U.S. job growth slowed last month, but still signaled a labor market on solid footing. The first jobs report of President Trump's second presidency showed U.S. employers added 143,000 jobs in January. That is the lowest number since October and short of predictions that were around 170,000. The unemployment rate fell to 4%, which experts say may lead the Federal Reserve to hold off on cutting interest rates until at least June. Turning overseas, a small plane this morning crashed in the middle of a busy road in Sao Paulo, Brazil, shortly after taking off from a private airport nearby. Both the pilot and plane's owner on board were killed, and at least 6 others on the ground were injured. Pieces of the wreckage hit a bus and a motorcyclist, but the crash just missed a crowded intersection and a long line of waiting cars. The cause of the crash is not yet known. Sources on the ground in Sudan tell the New York Times that hundreds of people have been killed in recent days as fighting escalates in the country's civil war. The UN reported this week at least 80 deaths in the southern city of Kadugli. Residents there say they don't have access to food or medicine. As the civil war approaches its 3rd year, the Sudanese army and rival rapid support forces have also clashed in the capital of Khartoum and in Omdurman, Sudan's 2nd largest city. The UN says at least 40 children were among those killed just this month. In Sweden, government officials say they will work to tighten gun laws after the deadliest mass shooting in the country's history. Swedes are still in shock after a gunman killed 10 people and himself at a school for adults in the city of Örebro earlier this week. Authorities believe the shooter used several of his own licensed rifles. Sweden's prime minister said he wants to restrict assault-style rifles and toughen the process for obtaining a license.
It's about tightening regulations for getting a weapons license at all. It's about banning certain types of semi-automatic weapons. We're also adding a proposal that would allow police and social services better opportunities to investigate medical reasons that would deny a person a gun license.
Police are still looking into whether the suspected gunman may have been a student once at the education center he attacked. They're still searching for a motive. Back here at home, this may be, by one measure, the most intense winter flu season in the last 15 years. The CDC says the percentage of visits to doctors' offices due to flu-like symptoms was higher last week than the peak of any winter flu season since 2010. Flu season typically peaks around February, and the CDC estimates at least 24 million flu cases this season so far. At the same time, CDC models show both COVID-19 and other respiratory illness, RSV, on the decline. And markets slid today on the heels of those lower than expected jobs numbers, as well as concerns about tariffs and inflation. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped nearly 450 points, its worst day in almost 4 weeks. The Nasdaq headed to a market-leading loss of 1.4%. And the S&P 500 wiped out its modest gains on the week. Still to come on the News Hour, Jonathan Capehart and Matthew Continetti weigh in on the week's political headlines. Ahead of the Super Bowl, the boom in legal sports betting. And longtime chef Lawrence Chu gives his brief but spectacular take on treating every day like a grand opening.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.